So good afternoon, champions. So welcome to our today's analysis. Hope you had a great week. For this analysis, I'll just be concluding what we have been doing throughout the week. I had a session with you on Wednesday. I think this is the last session that we're going to have this week, and then we're going to look up to next week what we will be planning for the week. So I'd like us to today I'll be analyzing two pairs, that is EURUSD together with GBPJPY. So we are going to start with Euro USD. So for the Euro USD, I would like us to start from let's just start from the weekly time frames that you can have a clear view of how the markets are moving. So generally we have been experiencing a downward trend from the weekly time frame, but you can see that the markets they have made double touches to the trend line below. So we are expecting that the markets are going to move to they are going to move to the upside. And we are, as you can see, I've been showing you this long-term plan that I have. That's why I place this long-term position in this area, planning that the markets are going to make a breakout. And when they give a sign that they are going to have a breakout to the upside, then to be clear that I'll be getting into that trade with a buy. So moving to a lower time frame. So if I move to a lower time frame, that is when that you are able to clearly see that the market are still moving on an upward trend. But then if I can move to the you can see that there is a trend line that the markets have been respecting for a very long time. So this is the trend line that the markets have been respecting. That's why you can see that we had this touch in this area, then we had this another touch here, and the markets have been moving to the downside to kind of create a point of support. So they have been moving downward to kind of prove the point of support that is below there, or to test that point of support there. So let us now move to the daily time frame. Now moving into the daily time frame, you can clearly see that the markets had several touches. So the trend line was moving from this point, moving heading to a lower point here. That's why you can see that the market have been respecting that trend line. But then we can see that there have been a completion of the double triangle theory. I usually call it the double triangle theory, because you can see that there have been a completion of this double triangle here, that we were expecting that the markets are going to complete that. So you can see that we had a touch to this trend line here. So attach that trend line, and then we had a retest again to the same trend line in these areas here. So what I'm expecting currently is that I'm expecting that the markets, after touching, the markets may decide to have a retest to this point of support. So currently you can see that the markets are still moving to the downside. The markets may decide to make a break out to the downside and have a retest to this point of support before they go back for a correction. That you're going to have a small move here because of this point of resistance, then the market to make a breakout to the upside and then move further to the upside. So that is what I'm seeing the markets are going to do. But at the same time, the other direction that the markets may take from the daily time frame, let me just show you in form of position where the markets may only touch this trend line, because it is a retest to that point of to that trend line there. Then the markets may decide to move from that position. So the market plan that you can have, or I may take, due to the action that are going to be made by the market, is that when the markets decides to only test this trend line in this area here and not move to this lower point of support in this area, then the plan that I have, it is that when it moves to this trend line, then I'm going to get in with a buy, that is with a buy trade, a long position. And we are the plan that I have is that the markets are going to move to a a higher position, bringing a closure. So take profit that I'm going to put in place, it will be at this position. So my take profit is going to be at this position. But the plan is that the markets may move further to the upside, making a breakout from this the region of resistance, and then they may further move to the upside. So that's the general plan. So either ways that the market are going to make, I will still have got opportunities to or decisions to make. So if I can move on to a lower time frame. Now from the lower time frame, it is when that it is a little bit clear concerning how the markets are planning to move. So you can see that we have been experiencing. So if I can remove this trend line and place another trend line in this area. So if I can place a trend line in that area, then place another trend line below here, I think that can create a clear view of what I'm trying to explain here. Now you can see that we have been, yes, we have been experiencing a move to the upside. So we have been having an upward trend here. But again, the markets are, when you move to the hourly time frame, you can see that the markets are moving in between these two trend lines. And markets have got a tendency of respecting the trend line. That's why you're seeing that. So they have been moving in between these two trend lines, but then you can see in this position the markets are trying to make a breakout. So you can see that clearly the markets are making a breakout to the downside. That is, so for the plan that I can have for the kind of behavior that the markets are trying to portray, it is just a short position. So I can lower my trade to that position where I can place in a short position, in which, okay, for the short position, if the markets are moving on an upward trend, this actually means that the markets, you have got more opportunities to buy than to sell. This means that whenever you are placing in a sell trade, that means you have to minimize more on the trade, because the markets may have a tendency of going against you. So it is advisable that when the markets are having an upward trend, then you should have more buys than sell, or you should have more buying opportunities than selling opportunities. So the small position that I can be having, it can be up to that point. I cannot risk more than that. That is 400 pips. So I the risk that I'll be putting in this trade, it is just risking a total of 200 pips to get a total of 400 pips. That is 50%, which is half. That is if the markets clearly show me that they are going to move up to this area here, and then that will actually give me a confidence that truly the market are moving to the downside. But then if the markets move to, if they go back to these areas here, so let me show you. If the markets decide to move to these areas where this will be like a kind of a correction, and then move further to the upside, then I'll be looking to more buying opportunities. Because remember that the markets have already touched this trend line here. So what we are expecting is that the market to move further to the upside, to make a touch to the trend line above it. So that is the general plan that I have on Euro USD. I hope you are able to understand some things. Let us move to 1 hour time frame so that you can have a clear view. Now, from the 1 hour time frame, you can see what I was trying to explain. So you can see that here we are expecting that either the markets move further to the downside. So let me show you. So the markets may decide in this area, the markets may decide to have a clear breakout to the downside, or but at the same time they may decide that it is a correction. So the markets may move back to this trend line. But either ways, I still have got a plan for that. So let us move now to GBPJPY, and let us start from the weekly time frame. So for GBPJPY, you can see that from the weekly time frame, the markets are moving into a consolidation. And whenever we are experiencing a consolidation, it is a clear sign that a breakout is usually expected to happen. And for this case, because the markets have been touching, they have been making several touches to the trend line above here. So you can see that this is another chart that has been made here. You can see that we also have this chart that has been made also to the upside. Then it is a clear sign that the markets, we are expecting that the markets are going to have a breakout to the downside after this consolidation. So you can see that this with the markets have been consolidating to those areas. So I'm still waiting from the weekly time frame. That is, I'm waiting for a breakout to the downside. But then let us just move to a lower time frame so that you can have a clear view of what the markets are saying. Now from the daily time frame, you can see, so we had a kind of three touches to the trend line above. So that is one, the second touch in that area, and also the third touch in that area. Then the markets moved to the downside, made a touch here. So this pair have been always making a tendency of making several touches on a particular area of a trend line, like you can see here. So we had several touches to the trend line below here before markets moved to the other side, that is to the upside, and made also several touches to this trend line before moving to the downside. So we are currently expecting that the markets, since it is its behavior, that the markets are going to make several touches to this trend line here before making a move to the upside. So we are currently expecting that the markets are also going to move to the downside, make other touches to the trend line below. So let me remove this so that you can reduce the noises that are there. So moving into the hourly time frame. So from the hourly time frame, you can see that the markets have been making clear patterns. So you can see that the markets generally have been moving to, they have been moving to the downside. We have been experiencing a downward trend. The markets have been respecting these two trend lines here, and you can see that the market were moving in between those two trend lines. The market were having some kind of an upward trend in this area. Then we had a breakout to the upside in this area before the markets decided to have another pattern that was moving to the downside. And then we had a breakout again in this area where the market decided that they are going to have moved to the upside. That is changing the pattern to an upward trend. Uh, so if I can zoom in, so currently we are, let me just move to the hourly time frame so that you can be able to see. So currently we are on an upward trend, if you can see. So this is an upward trend in this area. So you can see that we had initially we had a breakout to the downside, and usually breakout either to the downside or to the upside, they are usually made by huge candlesticks. So you can see this huge candlestick in this area that made that breakout to the downside, and then we can see that another candlestick that changed the move of the market to this green candlestick that made changes to how the markets have been moving. So you can see that that green candlestick changed the pattern, and you can see that now we are having a kind of upward trend that is moving towards this direction. So if I can show you, so the markets were moving in this direction initially, but then we had another move that was moving towards that direction, and then now we are experiencing another move that is moving to that direction. Now, still on the pattern that is currently being made by the markets, we can see that the market have made it has made several touches. So it has made several touches here. So you can see several touches that have been made on this trend line here, and then the market decided. So currently, I'm expecting that the markets will move to the downside to kind of have a retest to this point of support in this area. So that's why you can see that I've placed that short position where I'm risking a total of 200 pips to gain a total of 600 pips. So that is the plan that I have on GBPJPY. So I'm expecting that the markets are going to move to the downside, and then so this is kind of the region at which the market are currently on. It is a region of resistance, so that this is a very strong region of resistance. That's why you are seeing that it has got some kind of consolidation. So you can see that it has got some kind of consolidations, uh, but hopefully the markets are going to, that is for next week, we are expecting that the markets are going to move to the downside. So that is all that I had for you for the day. So do have a great weekend, and see you on Monday.